Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has lived at the mercy of the sky. We prayed to gods and sacrificed beasts to bargain for clear skies. Weather was the one force we could not tame, only endure. But in the 20th century, the prayers stopped and the experiments began. This is the secret history of how man seized the reins of nature. It begins not with a scientist, but a salesman named Charles Hatfield. In 1915, Hatfield built a tower in San Diego to summon the rain. He burned a secret chemical mixture, promising to fill the city's reservoirs. The rain came, but it did not stop, destroying dams and bridges. It was the first proof that tampering with the sky carries a terrible price. The real science began in 1946, inside the laboratories of General Electric. Vincent Schieffer discovered that dropping dry ice into a cloud caused crystallization. He had found the trigger to turn supercooled water into falling snow. His boss, Nobel laureate Irving Langmuir, realized the implications immediately. If you can change a cloud, you can steer a storm. In 1947, they launched Project Cirrus to intercept a deadly hurricane. They dropped 80 pounds of dry ice into the eye of the storm. The hurricane suddenly changed course, slamming into the coast of Georgia. The public was outraged, and the military classified the data immediately. They understood that weather was no longer just a phenomenon, but a weapon. Mathematician John von Neumann warned that weather control could rival the nuclear bomb. He envisioned a future where nations fought wars by altering the global climate. The Soviet Union began eager experiments to melt the Arctic ice. They proposed a dam across the Bering Strait to warm their northern ports. The United States responded by escalating its own weather modification programs. The theory became reality during the Vietnam War in 1967. The U.S. Air Force launched Operation Popeye, a top-secret weather warfare campaign. The goal was to extend the monsoon season and flood the Ho Chi Minh Trail. They successfully washed out roads, destroying the enemy's supply lines with rain. The pilots had a cynical motto: make mud, not war. When the operation was leaked to the press, the world was horrified. In 1977, the UN passed the ENMUD Convention, banning environmental warfare. But banning the weapon did not stop the research. It just went underground. The focus shifted from tactical warfare to strategic global dominance. In the 1990s, the U.S. military built the HARP facility in Alaska. Officially for research, conspiracy theorists claimed it could manipulate the ionosphere. While HARP is debated, the desire to control the atmosphere never faded. As the 21st century dawned, a new justification for intervention appeared. Climate change became the existential threat that justified extreme measures. The conversation shifted from weather warfare to solar geoengineering. The concept is simple: spray particles into the stratosphere to block the sun. They modeled it after the cooling effect of massive volcanic eruptions. It promises a quick fix to global warming, a thermostat for the planet. Tech billionaires began funding research into these atmospheric interventions. Small-scale experiments began to test the dispersion of reflective particles. Critics warned that this was the ultimate act of hubris. The law of unintended consequences is the only guarantee in complex systems. Blocking the sun in one region could stop the monsoon in another. Saving the Arctic could mean starving the population of India or Africa. Yet, the research continues, driven by panic and the desire for control. We are building the infrastructure to dim the sun itself. The blue sky of our ancestors may soon be replaced by a white haze. Aluminum and barium particles scattering the light into unnatural spectrums. Farmers are already reporting strange toxicity in their soil and water. Forests are struggling to breathe under the particulate matter. Is this the price we must pay for climatic stability? But there is a deeper layer to this story. The line between saving the planet and controlling it is invisible. Technology used to cool the earth can also be used to dry a nation. Imagine creating a drought to destabilize a geopolitical rival. Imagine steering a hurricane to wipe out a naval fleet. The ultimate weapon is not nuclear, it is atmospheric. Food security is the first casualty of weather manipulation. He who controls the rain controls the global food supply. Markets react violently to weather, creating trillions in potential profit. Space-based solar power adds another dimension to the control grid. We are enclosing the planet in a technological shell. The sky is no longer a wilderness. It is a laboratory. Strange square clouds appear where nature never makes straight lines. Official denials contradict the patents filed for weather modification. Thousands of patents exist for everything from rainmaking to storm steering. We have handed the keys of the biosphere to engineers. We are treating the living Earth as a machine to be fixed. But biological systems do not respond well to mechanical interventions. If we break the climate, there is no backup planet. We risk terraforming Earth into a dead world like Mars. Future generations may never know what a natural sky looks like. The impact on wildlife is largely unknown and untested. Changes in ocean currents could disrupt the entire marine food web. Simulations predict chaos, but we press forward regardless. The urgency of climate change is being used to bypass ethical debate. Fear is the driver that allows these technologies to be deployed. They present themselves as saviors of a burning world. But the history of weather control suggests a darker motive. The melting Arctic opens up vast new resources for extraction. Climate change is a crisis for some, but an opportunity for others. Russia seeks to dominate the new Northern Sea route. Controlling the global thermostat is the ultimate geopolitical leverage. It is the power to decide who eats and who starves. It is the power to cripple infrastructure without firing a shot. What happens if the weather control infrastructure is hacked? A rogue actor could trigger a global catastrophe. We have boarded a train that has no brakes. Even the architects of these systems are beginning to worry. Kennedy said we would control the weather by the year 2000. We are long past the theoretical stage. Look up and see the lines crossing the horizon. The evidence is falling on our heads every day. Synthetic snow that does not melt but burns. The internet is full of videos showing strange weather phenomena. We are told it is just condensation, just normal traffic. But the pilots know what they are spraying. The debate has moved from conspiracy forums to elite university halls. Harvard scientists launched the ESCO-PEX project to test this technology openly. They plan to release calcium carbonate to deflect the sun's burning rays. It is funded by the deepest pockets in the global technology sector. The goal is to create a permanent global sunshade made of particles. Sulfur dioxide is the preferred ammunition for this atmospheric artillery. It turns the sky into a mirror, reflecting heat back to space. This could lower global temperatures within months, a tempting quick fix. But it creates a planetary addiction that cannot be broken. There is a fatal flaw, known in physics as the termination shock. If the spraying ever stops, the warming returns all at once. Temperatures would spike violently, killing most life on the planet instantly. We would be trapped, forced to spray forever to survive. Who decides the ideal temperature for the entire planet Earth? Russia wants it warmer for agriculture to open up the frozen north. India needs it cooler to prevent heat waves from killing millions. One nation's optimal weather is another nation's catastrophic famine event. This divergence makes military conflict inevitable in a geo-engineered world. A rogue state could hold the world hostage by threatening to stop. Or they could lace the spray with biological agents. The delivery system for salvation is also the perfect delivery for doom. What goes up must eventually come down into our lungs. Nanoparticulates breach the blood-brain barrier with terrifying ease. Links to neurodegenerative diseases are being investigated by independent researchers. Aluminum toxicity in soil is a death sentence for pollinators. We are conducting a toxicology experiment on the entire human race. Dimming the sun also destroys the efficiency of solar energy. Changing wind patterns could render wind farms useless globally. The solution destroys the renewable alternatives we are trying to build. There are no international treaties governing the deployment of this tech. It is the wild west of the stratosphere with no sheriff. A single private actor could unilaterally decide to alter the climate. Silicon Valley thinks the atmosphere is code that can be debugged. But nature is not code. It is a chaotic living system. You cannot patch a bug without creating 1,000 new ones. The psychological impact of losing the blue sky is profound. We are severing our ancient connection to the cosmos. Solar dimming is linked to vitamin D deficiency and depression. Photosynthesis requires light, and we are dimming the light. Crop yields could collapse in the global south due to dimming. The rich will eat in their bunkers while the poor starve. A global resistance movement is beginning to form against geoengineering. Brave insiders are stepping forward to warn of the dangers. Declassified files prove the military has sought this power for decades. We are no longer looking at natural weather patterns. We are looking at a manufactured frequency war in the skies. Ionospheric heaters are heating the sky to steer the jet stream. The pilot does not know the full scope of the mission. The mechanic is told it is just fuel or stabilizer. Compartmentalization keeps the secret safe even from the participants. But the public is putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Citizen scientists are testing the rain and snow themselves. The results consistently show heavy metals far above safe limits. The official narrative is crumbling under the weight of evidence. They can call it contrails, but the persistence proves otherwise. Water vapor disappears in seconds. These trails last for hours. They spread out to form a milky blanket that traps heat. Ironically, the haze may be trapping more heat than it reflects. We may be accelerating the very warming we claim to fight. Humanity is walking a tightrope over an abyss of our making. We are Icarus, flying too close to the sun with wax wings. We all know how that ancient story ends. The Earth is a spaceship, and we are tampering with life support. We have seized the thermostat without understanding the furnace. The ultimate storm is not coming from nature, but from us. Preparation is the only logical response to this uncertainty. Grow your own food under cover to protect it. Filter your water to remove the heavy metals falling down. Detoxify your body from the assault of atmospheric toxins. Build resilience in your local community against the coming shocks. Know which regions are most vulnerable to weather warfare. The geopolitical game is entering its final, dangerous phase. Science without ethics is the most dangerous weapon in history. We have moved from praying to gods to playing gods. But the system is too complex for human hands to hold. The sky is falling, not metaphorically but literally. I am the monetary cartographer, charting the storms ahead. The winds of change are blowing harder than ever before. Magnetic north is drifting, and so is our moral compass. Knowledge is the only light in this artificial darkness. We illuminate the hidden agendas that shape your world. See the engineering, see the risk, see the future. Remember what a real sky looks like. Because soon, it may be just a memory.